This is day 1038 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. I sponsor Arukh share more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Please call me directly. Very greatly appreciated. Today we're doing You're There, Simon Pei Hey, Sik Mem Hey, and then we're actually going on to Pei Vav. And going on to Pei Vav, Vav. Meme. Well, Lufize, based on what we said previously, what's considered to be more chomer, what's to be more kal, where we get a person to eat in this situation sakana. Zeshem vurim b'torah shulchan aruch shulchan aruch Yeruchayim sim shin kav ches b'chol b'shabbos shekutzorich lebasar shoktim al Shabbos. It says if a sick person requires meat on Shabbos, we check for meat. Why should we be mechal Shabbos with the Isser of skila, which of course is obviously not going to get skila because it's pikuach nefesh, but with a more severe Isser of shechting, tell a goy to just kill it outright. No chal nevela, give him nevela. That way, it's a less of a prohibition. It's around Mishun Nevela or Yavar Kol Kazais Kazais. A very famous sheet of Saran. He says that you're going to, when each and every Kazais, get an Isser. And that's what Rios Bengal says. Ribu Yakamos Machria Echos. Hikadela might become a Isser, then in order to diminish the amount of the Isser, Mutav Lav, or at least a Chum, it's better to violate the more severe prohibition of the Shchita on Shabbos. Because then whatever he eats is going to be mutter. This according to what Arukh HaShulchan said previously, it's difficult, right? Because Chazal said, don't look at the of quantity, look at the quality of the prohibition. According to Ran, even the chul, there's not enough chulin for a patient. It's better to take off and separate and give him a little bit of truma. Give him a lot of tevel because it's going to be more of a prohibition. So to the tevel and the vela, mutav lafrish lachil ma'at truma. Should take off a little bit of truma. Then give him a lot of nevela. The bracket says here, "Go Ram Chabib B'Sifo Tosefes." According to the Ram of Farish Mort below Efshar B'Chulin. Did I say Chulin before? Anyway, it's Chulin. She'em Yishodel Yishom Zomi doesn't do Truma. V'Docha Gadol. It's very difficult to say this. Well, Dimaya the Farish Loch Rashi. Maybe they had different shouting more. Yom Mavio. He'll bring down Rashi Kedarko as his normal the Mahalach. La Farish and explain that the different explanation. Being Kia Gon Pashas talking Kasav Cain. Even though the Pasha is talking right, it says Dochaku Ein Sham. Yeshmak Shein Abailim Sham. You just have to say where perhaps the owner is not there. You should be able to shecht the cow in order to, or whatever you need to do in order to fix whatever you have to fix. Memvav Yeshav says Tirtu. Okay, so I have a problem here, right? Before we said we'll only look at Echus, not a Kamus. So he says Memvav Yeshma says Tirtu. Shabbos Eitz Achol Hucholo. Shabbos by Chola it's mutter. There's no prohibition whatsoever, so therefore we should check the animal, right? That's why nearly this feeling. And according to in the Ran or Chashun would say that if he holds that if it's possible not to eat Isser at all. If it was more severe than eating the Vela. Nevertheless, the Torah allowed you to do it. We should distance him from doing eating a prohibited substance. But once he's compelled to do an Isser, if he has compelled Isser, so then, according to their, again, we're going to the assumption that by B'Koch Nefesh Tutra. So therefore, it's better to shech for him in order that, because the Torah was matir anyway, in order to be marking him by Mechilas Isser. But if we're compelled to eat Isser, then we don't care about majority versus more or less. If the less is more chamor, we go after the more. I'm sorry. Less is more. Yeah, we give him the more. And it says brings down brackets. You can't smachas for zoom nachas reish back Rabbi Shmuel. Mutav shiar b'melacha achas bar koda. Better to do one large melacha by sifting by melachas harbe, and not instead of breaking down to many other melachas. Melachas harbe chamurim melacha achas, because many melachas are more chomer than one melacha. Mashamar be'emes lo ichpas lan. It's not that we care they're doing more melachas, but the more melachas makes it more severe. Here's the same thing with Duke, and understand this. And basically, so Arukh HaShulchan is not going to be Yisbengel's Yisoid. He doesn't agree that Ribu Kamos Machriya Eichos, and therefore he has to be Nidchak very, very much in order to come up with an idea, in order to resolve the Ran, in order to say that here it's about because of Hutra, or because, well, that's basically what he says. And then he says, it's much more easy to go to Rabbi Yisbengel. Mem Zayin. Kvain is bar bevan as a simon bav asif hey liam bios asuras in terms of having prohibited relations. The chal al iser. There's no prohibition. Doesn't devolve another prohibition lokshabo basachas unless they came simultaneously of a kolel or one includes more objects or more people in this case. Or mostly or adds an additional iser. In other words, qualitatively. By eating. And there's Marcus, because the rabbis are pretty down. So, yesh ochel achil kazayis echad. There's something one kazayis for local love chamesh Marcus. He gets 5 times Marcus for it. Vushit rubam chamishi surim. Shitskavsubon. That's when you warn him for 5 prohibitions which have collected in this object, in this food. Ketzat has ochagon tamei shachal kazayis or tamei 8. Kazayis chelev shenosim in ukdashim, which is left over from hekdesh biyom Kippurim on Yom Kippur. Lokum shum achal chelev. He gets malchus because he ate chelev. Shum achal nosa because he ate nosa. Shum achal Yom Kippur Yom Kippur. Shum tamei shachal kodesh because the tummy ate kodesh. Shum shenanim in a hekdesh umam because he had hanah from hekdesh, which is the Isser Milah. Memches. But lama kan Israel Isser. Why the Isurim devour upon each other? Initially the animal was chelev, and the chelev was also to eat, which is allowed to right benefit. Hikdisha, if he made hektish netzar chelba ba'anoah, then the chelev became also ba'anoah. Tosha nosa ba Isser hanoah, this is a moisif, this word to be Isser hanoah, nitvasi ba Isser kachim. So the Isser hanoah allows the Isser Kachim as an Isser Moisif to take effect. But then the Gavoah was the Hedjum. Still, the Chel was permitted to the Mizbeach, but it was also, even though it was also to a human being. Now, so Noser comes Noser, Mitosha Noser, but Isser L'Gavoah, since there's an additional Isser L'Gavoah, this Isser Koila, it has more prohibited objects, or objects upon which it's prohibited, I should say. Toshanos about Isser Gavoah, necessarily head also becomes also for the regular person. Because this person, he was allowed to eat meat of an animal and now allowed to eat chelev. Nitma, it becomes tame nesar apik shera. So then he again adds more objects to the prohibition. Now he can't even eat nesar b'sara. He's also now allowed to eat the meat of the korban. Nosab lo is a chelev, in addition to Isur chelev. But Yom Kippur and Kol Yisurim, and Yom Kippur comes and it includes all Yisurim. In other words, you can't eat anything. Since you can't eat chulin as account of Yom Kippur, Nosab Isur b'chelev. There's a prohibition also develops on the chelev. Anything similar. This is a case where you're chayiv for eating 1 kizayis, 4 chatos, and 1 asham. The time is shachal chelev, nosim and amkdashim yom kippurim. Okay, siman peivav, simani beitzim, the signs of eggs. V'nei beitzas nevela v'treifa. Of an egg from the Bela Trefa, and the chick which is hatched from them. They checked out how to tell the difference. But so we had this by Hilchos dog, by the halachos already of dogim, but this is the source. Both ends of the egg are round. Both are sharp. or if the white of the egg was in the outside, and the yolk on the outside. Biodushu beitzas. We know there's an egg which is of tummy from a non-kosher bird. Even the settler says shehem mel plain that's from a certain bird which is kosher. Makim myself shutar. We know the bird is kosher. Ain't some chilul. We don't lie him. I feel muksa b'kashas even if he's assumed to be a kosher person. Pishim mishaken. He's lying. She'iev shalios. It's not possible. Even the two witnesses come, they take an oath that's a kosher bird. They're lying witnesses. They just want to make you do a prohibited act. So too, if the yolk and the white are mixed in with each other, it's an animal of some sort of creepy crawly thing. An egg of some sort of creepy crawly thing. No testimony is going to make it kosher. If one side was rounded, the other side was sharp, and the white is on the outside, the yolk is on the inside, that's the kosher bird. It's not a definite simon. Because there's some types of non-kosher birds which also have this form of egg. There's a crow's egg, the damion, which looks like a dove's egg. There are wanting to tell the difference between which one is the kosher, which one is the treif. But they don't look, both look the same evidently, in one end being round and one sharp. So too that they have the white on the outside and the yolk on the inside. The other meaning which also have one end round and one end sharp. And they also have the same yolk versus white structure. The Torah just like a Torah bird. So therefore it's not a definitive simmer. If it's not like this, it's definitely treif. But if it's like this, it's not definitely kosher. Base. One of the the precaution, the name of Ricastro, it happened that they brought to some Torah giant Beitz Shoyes a Chelbon Bli Chelmon. At yolk I'm white without yolk. Usually for says treif. However, one of the scientists, whoever it is, wrote like this. It's actually quoting from a scientist here. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Lettuce, a hen, when it stops laying eggs, the last egg would be very small. Only has white, even a small egg within a big egg. Piece of beta chain on therefore an egg which only has white, or it has two whites, and two yolks, which permit. There are most birds only lay eggs once a day. There are hens which which lay eggs twice a day and they die quicker. Some give lay eggs which have two yolks. They come. These are fertilized eggs. They come in two different sperm, I guess. We also have baits like twins. Most of baits mean two overcoming. Yeah, from this eggs will come out twin chicks. The base roshim with two heads, barbaraglaim, and four legs. But they won't come out alive. That's if there is a membrane between the two yolks. If there's no membrane between the two yolks, you'll need efrach echad. It'll come out one chick, barosh echad, with one head, barbaraglaim, with four legs. Some say if there is a membrane between them, you'll tell me the front, you'll have two separate twins, evidently, which will survive. The Rubei Tanigolas ain Matios Bapam Achas Ragbeitza Achas. But most of the hens only will lay one egg at one time. And those who at great intervals lay two eggs, I guess, at the same time. The Chassid said not to eat these eggs. By the way, all of this is probably talking about fertilized eggs, which our eggs are almost never nowadays. But now we're still talking about fertilized eggs. relations of a rooster with a hen. Eino el b'yom b'lebelah, they're during the day, not at night. V'chein rak b'yom tells beitzim b'lebelah. Therefore, a hen only lays eggs during the day and not at night. Beitza she'enim b'tarnagol, but if the egg comes not from fertilization, doesn't come as a result of relations with a rooster. Elohim is chaimen a karka, that is beitzim, but the hen got heated up from the ground, and therefore it laid eggs. Also, beitzim yoledes, those eggs that are laid ben b'yom ben b'layla, both the day and the night. Beitzim is trying to go yofim yoser beitzim shel karka. Fertilized eggs are better than non-fertilized eggs. Makom sheish trying to go in a molida me'akarka, in a place where there is a rooster. She doesn't lay eggs from the ground. Me'aktanigo only from the rooster. The vad shishim bate mitanigo, up to 60 houses away from the rooster. Yishamas kolo, she hears his voice. The locally me'akarka will not lay eggs with which are not fertilized. Nice left sikna har belogesh, as long as there's no river without a bridge in between. Sometimes it's possible that the rooster or the hen will pass in without a bridge. If there's a small, I guess like a rope strung against over the width of the river. Since there is no definitive simon by beitzim, because of a two, they'll never two wrote. Simoni beitzim lakir shemel of tahar. Simoni trying to see that it's from a kosher bird who should chat when one end is rounded. I'll go and it's like a picture and it's round. And the other end is sharp. V'ogo, it's obviously rounded as well, but it's rounded and narrowly rounded. The chamer chutz, and the white is on the outside, and the chelbon chamer b'ifnim, and the yolk on the inside. Ve'nasim muvak, it's not definitive simon. Smachal of iklos mechutzin, to align it, to buy from eggs from non-Jews. Elohachi hani works to this point. Shem yesh b'hem simon tara. If it looks, it has a sign of tara. Shalom samocha mimayim. We can ask itself from whence it came. Imarim shal ploni. If it comes to certain, says it comes to a certain bird, but makim so shu tar, and we know that bird is kosher bird. Koni many we can buy from him. But if he doesn't say a specific bird, she says generically it's from a kosher bird. And he doesn't mention which bird, and we can't buy from him. Even he says from a certain bird, and it's tar, lo mahani el knos me soil. Still only buy from a Jew. From a non-Jew you can't buy unless we know these. I guess we know the eggs, not him. And you're able to recognize the egg. Shem beitze o ploni ator. They come from a kosher bird. It says, just like you can't buy from a non-Jew, you can't buy from a Jew who is suspect on kashrus. Hey, beer advorim. What it means to say is the common sim kufiyutes pasuk the stam adam yisrael neman afil bisa doraisa. A generic person who's Jewish is believed in by nisa doraisa. Limkor, to sell basar gvina, meat and cheese as kosher. Raki muchashid enu neman. All of his suspect is a brown. That's Rabbi Poitsky. Most of us going to know. Have a ram and perk yudam machos. The din chafei pasuk. The stam other main and muksa bekashus. A generic person is not known to be kosher. But she adana bo bebiru shu ish kosher. Meaning we don't know with definitively that it's kosher. And look him any iron basar gvina. We don't buy from him wine or meat or cheese. Ayin sham. Bisa kohen is gam bekan. Ochim mushitosam. Here they follow their reasoning there. That Tur b'Yisrael answer shum davar, according to Tur by Jew, don't need any evidence. Zesham Gemara Sham, Zesham Gemara, that's the Gemara ba'Amar Shal Ploni Tar. He says that it's from this is a certain bird which is kosher. Zebekuti, and that's why non-Jews. Kaviyar Girsa Gemara Sham, as it seems to be the Gemara's Girsa there. Ram Mashitasa Matzu Gam Bestami, so he requires even a generic Jew. Shal Shal Ploni Tar. It's kind of said that's the point at what specific bird it comes from. The sphere laid the bekuti ain't a moil say, so it's by goy, even that doesn't work. So a chashin and a non-Jew, Jew suspect, gamaturmo that, kamashkasa b'sim kuvi, that he also agrees that status is that of a goy. Zelshim sayim near shein l'chad bekuti yisrael chashin. There's no distinct difference. V'chi perushim means to say, if you saw chashin, moed the shetzarech l'marshal of ploni tor kibekuti. The Torah doesn't pass, not Machnel Rambam holds the yes to say that it's still that it's a certain bird which is kosher, just like a non-Jew has to say. bracket says Zeu came Perish Hashem shall be says Shem Ari Chaviv to Rabach Tmoim and the Berjisha and move on to Duchim Baruch Hukmosh Shazam V'Duk. Okay, all that doesn't make any sense. Let's see it inside. Vav Atam Tam Shomer Stam Shov Torah the Internet. Why is not believe this stage is generically that's from kosher Shim Ebshar Levara Shishaka because we can't clarify if he's lying. Lemisa is not afraid. Avshomashal Ploni says it comes to a certain bird. She's barashing a daimon osaof, and when he clarified that this does not look the egg of that bird, or the egg which hatches from this will not be that bird, he would be found in his lie. Yisrael is afraid to lie. Even though we know that Tomei eggs are true like kosher eggs, zerak b'kad v'chad v'chel b'mechama. This is only if they are, in terms of rounded and sharp, and the yolk and the white. Nevertheless, fundamentally, they have a different shape. Aleph. Okay, so evidently that's the reason why there is room to be to trust him, because according to the Torah, because you can find out if he's lying or not. But tomorrow the Arukh HaShulchan will talk about difficulties with the Torah.